Hey, what's going on? I'm Patrick Giguère, and thanks for tuning into this video. So in this one I want to get into the June 10th, Thursday, June 10th solar eclipse. And I'm making this on Tuesday the 8th of June, so just 2 days away. Going to be a big deal, big eclipse. Before I get into all that, just a quick note, if you like my videos, if you like my content, if you enjoy this channel, and if you have not already, please consider subscribing to the channel, sharing the videos, liking the videos, and drop me a comment. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just thumbs up, smiley face, thanks. It helps the videos do better in the search algorithm. The video comes closer to the top of the search. So yeah, if you haven't done this and you like what I'm doing, please consider doing that, and thanks either way. So enough of that, let's talk about this eclipse here. So this is going to be an eclipse in Taurus, in the latter degrees of Taurus. So 25 degrees is where the sun and moon are going to be, and it's a Rahu eclipse. So Rahu is going to be the shadow planet that is going to obscure the sun. And I want to look something up here. Okay. So yeah, and not just solar eclipse in Taurus, but in Rigashira. So Rigashira, the smaller constellation that it kind of straddles Taurus and Gemini, so partly Taurus, partly Gemini. And if you're not familiar with Vedic astrology, the 12 signs are made up of 27 smaller constellations, also called lunar mansions. So nakshatra basically means lunar mansion. There's smaller constellations that make up the sign. There are 27 smaller, there are 2.5 of these smaller constellations, of these lunar mansions, of these nakshatras in each sign. So this is going to take place in Rigashira. Now, Rigashira deals with, the symbol is a deer, or more specifically the head of the deer. So it's like a deer looking around in a forest. So, you know, deer out in the forest, they're looking for food. They're scanning for threats. They're looking for water. You know, they've got their head on a swivel. They're always looking around and scanning the environment. So that has a lot to do with the meaning of this constellation. So Mrigashira deals with basically the search for the cure, search for the elixir of life. Also, since it's Taurus, you know, it's a search for quality, beauty, creativity, just all things that the vast majority of us consider good. So, you know, Taurus is all about quality and accepts nothing less. So, and when you really get more specific, you know, Mrigashira is the aspect that's searching for the cure, searching for the elixir of life, kind of to turn things around and to cure things. So that's a big theme right now. And, you know, everybody in the world is on a different level with what's going on. You know, some people are just looking for, it's like the vaccine is the new scientific messiah. You know, the COVID vax is the new scientific messiah that's going to save them from the horrible, deadly plague. Other people are looking for political messiahs, whether they're Republican, Democrat, right, left. You know, and all of those things, the politicians, the vax, they're all false messiahs. You know, you can really only save yourself. And along those lines, you know, what a lot of people, you know, and really a silent majority here in America and in the world, the silent majority are looking for a way to get back to life, to have a social life again, to enjoy social activities like concerts and amusement parks and summer camp and beaches and parties and bars and all that stuff, theaters. And you've got to be kidding me. That thing has an alarm on it. Alright, whatever. We gotta roll with it. So, I guess it's a confirmation, right? When you get some noise out of nowhere. I do wish you'd shut it off, though. So, there we go. So, you know, this silent majority of people are like, okay, really, the whole world, the whole economy is shut down for a virus that has a fraction of 1%, you know, kill rate. So people are looking to get back to life. They're looking to get their livelihoods back. They're looking to get their incomes back. And they're looking for a break and basically an end to all the hysteria. So we're basically searching for the cure that ends the lockdowns, the suspicion, you know, everybody is China virus positive until proven innocent. Looking for an end to the suspicion, hysteria, lockdowns, just all the silly fear-driven behavior. Now, that's a tall order because we've had so many perceptions fed to us through media, through government. And media and government, they're working for Big Pharma, who's making all these injections, all these shots. You know, and this is basically the left's 9/11. So 9/11, a bunch of companies, weapons companies, construction companies, all these government contractors, they basically bribed their inside men and women in government to vote for war so that they could make a bunch of money. And government, along with these corporations, these conglomerates, along with media, they conducted a campaign of very disgusting emotional manipulation. And so now, different companies, pharmaceutical companies, companies associated with the medical industry, the sick care industry, they are using politicians on the left rather than politicians on the right, like primarily during 9/11. They're primarily now using politicians mostly on the left to make a bunch of money selling the stuff they sell. So, yeah, it's the left's 9/11. It's another disgusting emotional manipulation campaign. And really, the vast majority of the population has highly uninformed opinions. They watch TV, they listen to the radio, they read things from the publishing industry, you know, multi-billion-dollar industry. And they're just so wowed by experts and they kiss the asses of experts and they don't think anything about, you know, could there be an ulterior business related motive to all these stories, all these narratives that come out of the mainstream media? So we need a cure to that. We need a cure to this perception factory that we call mainstream media, which is, it's there to just help big companies sell shit. They tell the stories the way the big companies and the big banks want things told, so people will buy their shit. So we need a cure to that. So a cure to these false perceptions, you know, another one of these false perceptions is, you know, that this Chinese virus came from bats, and in labs they can't even infect bats with it. So there's a lot of perceptions going on. So the cure to perceptions is accurate information. So really the whole point to this, to making this video about this eclipse, is that I think there are massive releases and disclosures of information on deck that people are really fighting to get this information out. You know, if you watch C-SPAN, you know, the Forbes magazine YouTube channel puts a lot of this out, but you know, Dr. Tony the Rat Fauci is he's getting fucking pummeled in the corner in the Senate by like Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Senator, I think it's John Kennedy. He's getting pummeled against the ropes because back when Donald Trump said, hey, we need to investigate whether or not this Wuhan virus accidentally leaked from the Wuhan Institute laboratory, Dr. Fauci laughed and said, oh, that's an uneducated, stupid conspiracy theory. Now that these senators are putting pressure on him, and they said, why are you giving all this money to the Wuhan Institute to study viruses? Where are they doing gain-of-function research, which takes a dangerous pathogen and makes it even more dangerous for purposes of study? Like, why are you giving all this money? Could have they done that? Could have this leaked out? Now that he's getting all this pressure from the Senate and they're finding evidence that is spurring them to ask all these questions, he's been totally backpedaling, and he's saying, well, yeah, I guess it's a good idea that we investigate this lab leak theory. And it even came out that President Biden tasked the intelligence services, you know, talking like CIA, DIA, so forth, to investigate whether there's some validity to the whole lab leak theory. So I think this is going to come out that it was from a lab leak. This Chinese virus, this COVID, this Wuhan virus leaked, whether unintentionally or whether it had some help, that will be determined. I do think it had some help because it helped Wall Street play some financial games. It helped the big box stores and the big chains and the Amazons get even bigger because it closed down small business. I think it had some help getting out of that lab. So this is going to come out, and you know, Dr. Fauci, Tony the Rat, is about halfway under the wheels of the bus right now, and he's gonna end up under the wheels of the bus, and I think he's going to get his minions to find some of this, to go get some of this information for him, and he's going to volunteer a lot of it, and he'll be like, oh, wait, oh, look at the information I had right in my offices, right in my headquarters. I think he's going to start volunteering some of this information so that the law doesn't come down on him as hard as it might otherwise. And I think a lot of politicians who were in on scaring people about this flu, it's a flu that's more contagious than usual, but not more deadly. I think everyone who is in on it is scared shitless about their heads rolling right now. And they're scared, they're frightened by the possibility of the indignation of the public and of politicians who actually are pro-America and don't want us to be a Chinese colony anymore, which really we have been for coming on 30 years now. Because empires manufacture, the imperial mother country manufactures, and colonies send raw materials for goods to be manufactured, and they buy them back. So yeah, we've been a Chinese colony for quite some time. We just have a military. That's about it. So yeah. So a lot of information is going to come out. You know, and when you look at this eclipse being in Taurus, you know, for the world, when you look at it for the world, you put Aries in the first house, Taurus is the second house. That's the house of wealth. It's a house of material goods, material environment. So this is about and eclipses are all about, they're about disclosures. They're about things being revealed because the light source, it's like a spotlight. You can't see who's behind the spotlight when it's shining in your face, but you shut it off, your eyes adjust, and you see things in the dark that you couldn't before. Light also blinds you, it doesn't just illuminate things. So this is all about seeing what was really going on in the spheres of wealth and money in the world. What's really going on in the material environment in the world. And so, in Taurus, we have, every time you have a solar eclipse, you get the sun and moon. But we get the Mercury retrograde in there 1 degree away from the degree that this eclipse is happening at. And then you've got Rahu in there. So with the Mercury retrograde, it's all about miscommunication. It's about going back and reviewing and correcting inaccurate thinking, inaccurate communication. And in Rahu's the trickster of the Vedic pantheon, so it deals with deceptions and tricks and illusions. So this is about going back and figuring out where we were deluded, where the deception was, where we were lied to, where we were lying to ourselves, where we seize the opportunities to lie to ourselves, because propaganda is an opportunity for all of us to lie to ourselves. It's not really something being forced on us. We're given the opportunity to lie to ourselves, and there's a bunch of social peer pressure that comes with that. There's a whole groupthink, bandwagon mentality that comes with it, but it's an opportunity to lie to yourself. So yeah, for the world, it's all about where were we not thinking correctly about what is going on in the material environment, about finding a cure for what's going on right now. Now, when you look at America, this is happening in the 6th house. So the 6th house is health, healing, disease, wellness, ailments. It's also karma, struggles, conflicts, and enemies. So we're going to deal with the inaccurate information that was fed to us about this Wuhan virus, and this inaccurate information that's basically wrecked the economy. It's wrecked people's businesses. Over 100,000 small businesses in America alone shut down. Can't imagine what it is worldwide. And just the truth about the health aspect of this, and Dr. Fauci's his book, he's a profiteer, just like Dick Cheney was. He's basically the Dick Cheney of 2020. So he's profiteering off of this. He was going to make millions off of a book sale, and the pre-sale got yanked from Amazon and Barnes and Noble, two of the biggest, probably the two biggest book retailers, big box book retailers in the whole country. Because his emails came out where he was saying, in February 2020, well, these masks don't really do anything, and yeah, they might help infected people not spread it, but they really don't do anything. And all of a sudden, we had mask phobia. We had the mask craze that was foisted upon us. So yeah, that's what this eclipse is dealing with. And then, you go back to the lunar eclipse, May 26th, for the world. Well, it was in Scorpio for the whole world. When you put, for the whole world, when you put Aries in the ascendant, Scorpio is the 8th sign. It's a ruler of the 8th house. And that had Moon and Ketu in there, within 6 degrees of each other. So that was basically, the 8th house deals with scandals, conspiracies, hidden things, sudden ups and downs, sudden gains and losses. When you get Moon and Ketu together, Moon is the mind, the consciousness. Ketu, the symbol for it is, it's a body without a head. So when Moon and Ketu are close together, it's headlessness, thoughtlessness, mindlessness. So it's all about the hidden things that we were mindless about, that we weren't thinking clearly about. And, for America, it's Scorpio is the 12th house, which is another house of secrets, conspiracies, things that are done, outside of the, not in the light of day, things that are done, secret things that are done in the darkness. So, pretty heavy stuff, and that was right around the time when Dr. Fauci started getting the business in the Senate and, admitting, well, I guess we have to investigate the Wuhan Institute lab leak theory. So, that sort of cracked open the secret stuff, and now this is dealing with the solar eclipse. June 10th is going back with correcting that thinking around this whole area of health and really dealing with humanity and America's true enemies. A lot of these enemies are going to be nice, smiley, nice, progressive people everyone thought was so nice and so educated. It's not just aggressive right-wing dickheads that are enemies and that are out for themselves. It's easier to lie to people and manipulate people when you have a nice smile and you're a nice person and everyone goes, "Oh, he's such a nice person on TV." So you wait for that. You're going to see it. It's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to find out who humanity's true enemies really are, who America's true enemies really are, what the intentionally inaccurate information and communication was that got us into this year and a half of lockdowns. And even when this information comes out, a lot of people are going to reject it. Even now, since the CDC has said, yeah, you don't need to social distance and wear those masks anymore, people are like, well, I want to wear my mask and social distance because I want to feel like I'm doing my part, and I want people to know I'm not a Trumper and I'm not a racist. Don't know what COVID has to do with racism, but there you go. Inaccurate thinking. So, yeah, some people aren't going to, want to acknowledge what's going on, but it's going to be out there, and I think after this eclipse, it's not going to be as subtle as it has been, where the mainstream media can go, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. I think mainstream media is going to run this information because they're going to be trying to save and cover their own asses because their followership, their subscribership is in the toilet, and they're not going to want to lose their market share when the undisputable evidence hits the streets that there was a whole scam going on with this Chinese virus. So you just wait and see. Now some other things going around peripheral to this eclipse. You've got Jupiter on June 10th. You've got Jupiter conjunct with the natal moon, the birth moon of the United States. That's in Aquarius in the 3rd house. Aquarius, the sign of humanity. 3rd house, the house of communications and media. And Jupiter's at 7 degrees right on the birth moon, the natal moon of the United States. So eclipses cause revelations, disclosures, the things come out of the dark. Jupiter right on the natal moon of America in the 3rd house, house of media and communications. Aquarius, the sign of humanity. Aquarius is also the sign of things being in their divinely ordered place. All things being in their correct place, in their divine order. So with all that going on, I think we're going to see massive shit hitting the fan in the media, huge information coming out that's going to really clear things up and change people's ideas and perceptions about a lot of things that have been going on, particularly this Wuhan virus. And Neptune is also in Aquarius with Jupiter. It's at 29 degrees, so they're far apart, but still in the same sign. And both Jupiter and Neptune are getting ready to retrograde. Jupiter's going to retrograde on the 20th, 21st. And Neptune's going to hit its retrograde on the 25th. So Jupiter is going to go 1 degree past the natal moon of America and retrograde and go back to it So 3 times in the space of a few months, Jupiter's going to sit on the natal moon of America. And plus, when you get Neptune retrograding, Neptune is both a revealer and a deceiver. When it retrogrades, it's all about going back and reviewing the illusions. Neptune really shows us stuff. So, yeah, the people through media are going to see some really serious shit, some really explosive information. It's gonna just blow the lid off a lot of illusions and a lot of things that were being hidden. And the media is going to look bad. This is going to discredit the media in time, inevitably. The media is going to act like they were always telling the truth and be like, oh, wait, look, oh, this leaked out of a lab. Oh, you can't infect bats with it. They're going to act like they were never covering anything up to try to save their companies and save their market share. But, it's not going to completely work for them. Some people will always be faithful, to these mainstream outlets, but their decline is definitely accelerating, and this is going to help that. What else is going on? So yeah, Mars is going to be in Cancer that day. So in the 8th house of America. For the world, Mars in Cancer, this is the 4th house. 4th house is security, comfort, the home, the heart. So Mars doesn't like being in Cancer because Cancer it's one of the sign of emotion. It's a very emotional sign. It's a water sign. Mars doesn't like being in Cancer because you basically have to face your emotions and deal with them and basically sort them out. And find your peace and your comfort and your freedom, not through fighting, but through sorting your own emotions out. Mars hates being here. Mars gets kind of whiny. Because Mars wants to fight and be tough and just get through things. It's the way it is in Capricorn and Aries and Scorpio. So, difficult place for Mars. So this basically, I think because of this, people are going to basically drag themselves kicking and screaming through all this information that's going to come out. And they're going to be dragged kicking and screaming by the information outlets and even by people in government who are getting the real information out there. The ones who do have some integrity. So yeah, people are going to be whining about this new information that comes out. They're like, no, but Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates are so nice. Oh, no, it can't be. But Donald Trump is so stupid and mean. How could he have been right? People are going to be bitching and whining, but, oh well. Now for America, Cancer is in the 8th house. Okay, scandals, conspiracies, taboos, hidden things, sudden ups and downs, even the occult. And the 8th house is a house of transformation. So basically, we're going to find comfort and find freedom as Americans by having to face the truth and all the uncomfortable feelings that comes with that. And I've been telling people for years, probably close to 20 years, when all of the crazy secret underhanded shenanigans come out that have been going on and being done in our names, in the name of the people of America, we're going to be shocked like the German people after VE Day, after World War II ended in Europe. They didn't even know about all the camps, about all the death camps and importantly the medical experiments. They didn't know about any of that, and they were absolutely shocked. But they were kept in the dark about it so they could live delusional, comfortable, really banal little lives. Where they had their 2 cars and their little house, and their vacations. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff, but when your comfortable life is supported by people suffering, that's fucked up. Something has to change. And just because it's hard for you to deal with reality doesn't mean you get a pass and you get to ignore it. So we're going to have to deal with this shit. So yeah, we're going to find our freedom and our comfort through dealing with a lot of hard truths and some very uncomfortable emotions. And then too, the thing we've got going on here is K2's still in Scorpio. So again, K2 is bringing transformation and just hard truths. K2 doesn't create illusions for you like Rahu just because you can't handle the truth. It's like, well, here you go. I'm responsible for spirituality and just having a no bullshit nature. So here you go. So, for the world, that's the 8th house, Scorpio in the 8th house. It's this transformation by dealing with things. For America, Scorpio is up in the 12th house. So K2 is basically showing us all the conspiracies, hidden things done in the dark. And then, the last thing in the chart, we still have the retrograde Saturn and Pluto still in Capricorn. So Saturn, and they haven't been together for hundreds of years. Saturn and Pluto haven't been together in Capricorn in centuries. So, yeah, since before 1520, since the Renaissance and the Reformation, and since the Catholic Church was censoring and trying to suppress all that information, all those new insights. So retrograde Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, government's trying to do sneaky shit. Not just government, but since it's the second house for America especially, Capricorn, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn deals with government and finance and just big institutions that are becoming obsolete, that are corrupt. Dealing with these institutions crumbling, but just fighting like a bastard to hang on to their power. So, but it's fated that they lose power because, especially Saturn being in retrograde, we have to review the order of things and reorder and throw out what doesn't work and what's corrupt, what has no integrity, what has no worthiness. And in Pluto in retrograde, Pluto shows us who we really are deep down, what's really going on deep down. So, pretty interesting. I think that's all I wanted to say about that eclipse. So, oh yeah, one last little detail is the transiting Venus will be conjunct America's natal Jupiter. That's 15 degrees of Gemini. And it's in the 7th house. So, 7th house deals with all the other people in your life. Friends, lovers, enemies, business partners. So, yeah, and, when you're talking about America, you're talking about a country. The others can, it's friends, it's enemies. It can even be, the other entities like corporations, even the government, really. Because really the government is a whole separate entity in and of itself from a country. And this often gets obscured because government is more egotistical and power hungry than ever. And they want us to think that we work for them and that we're beholden to them. Really, they work for us. Presidents, prime ministers, they're national butlers. They're the foreman of the help. They work for us. They're beholden to us. They should always be afraid of us. That's why America's Bill of Rights and the Constitution has a Second Amendment. It's to keep a fear of the people constantly in government so they don't get too full of themselves and take too much power. So anyway, transiting Venus conjunct USA's natal Jupiter in the 7th house. To me, this is about America's friends really, their power being expanded, really gaining a lot of power to come to its aid. Not the government's aid, but the aid of the people, not, you know, not the conservative movement's aid, not the liberal movement's aid, not BLM's aid, not some crazy social justice shit's aid, not the Christian fundamentalist aid, but the aid of the people, you know, and the freedom of the people and the quality of life of the people. So, yeah, to wrap this up, a lot of this eclipse is going to open the window for the revelation and disclosure of a lot of really crazy, I think I can even say earth-shattering information, things that will shake the world to restore freedom to the American people and to humanity as a whole. It's not going to be done overnight. It's not going to be done in a year. It's not going to be done in 10 years, but it's a turning of the tide is the way I see it. You know, think about the Lord of the Rings, where the Ents decide to attack Isengard, where Saruman is like spawning the orcs out of the ground, and he's chopped the forest down, and he's dug all these caverns into the earth, and they're making all these weapons to produce this army to go and, you know, destroy humanity. And the Ents basically say, fuck it, you know, we can't be neutral anymore. And they destroy his whole operation, and they break the dam of the River Isen, and the River Isen floods back with its full force and floods all those caverns and drowns all the orcs and, you know, the whole bit. And takes away Saruman's power. So it's a similar kind of a thing, you know, and in that scene in the Two Towers in Lord of the Rings, where that river's released, emotions are very watery, so that's all about emotions, the power of emotional energy being released to fight back, to, you know, fight the good fight and fight back and take power back. So yeah, look for big information, especially about this whole Chinese Wuhan virus, about its real origins, where it really came from, and who was hiding that so that their buddies can make some money. So that's it for now. If you've not had, ooh, got some light in my face. If you've not had a Vedic astrology reading with me, I highly recommend it. It's a great roadmap through life, through challenging, confusing times. I also do rune readings, a great mind map. And I custom build meditations to go both of these types of readings. And I also have some Qigong videos, some downloads for sale. Great mind-body practice to get your body healthier, get your mind healthier, and help you to basically sort through your emotions, process all that stuff, and to get your unconscious mind, which is your manifester, making more of what you want in your life. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll be hearing, or you'll be hearing more from me. I'll be seeing more of you. Have a good one.